I walked into Johns Hopkins Medical School graduation ceremony wearing the exact same navy blue dress as my twin sister. She was sitting in the front row with the other graduates, wearing her cap and gown, holding the program with her name printed on it. Except it wasn't her name. It was mine, Sarah Mitchell. That's my name. That's who I am. That's who I've always been, but for the past 4 years, she's been me. Let me go back to the beginning, because this story doesn't make sense unless you understand how we got here. My sister's name is Sophie. We're identical twins. Same face, same height, same voice. Our own grandmother couldn't tell us apart until we were 12. Growing up in Portland, Oregon, we did everything together. Same schools, same friends, same dreams. We both wanted to be doctors. In high school, I was the better student, not by much, but enough. I had a 4.0 GPA. Sophie had a 3.7. I scored 1520 on the SAT. She scored 1380. I spent every night studying while she went to parties. I sacrificed. I worked. I earned it. Senior year, we both applied to Johns Hopkins. It was our dream school. The best medical program in the country. In March 2019, I got accepted. Sophie got rejected. I'll never forget the moment I opened that acceptance email. I screamed. I cried. I called my parents. My dad opened champagne. My mom hugged me for 10 minutes straight. It was the best day of my life. Sophie locked herself in her room for 3 days. When she finally came out, she congratulated me. Hugged me. Said she was proud. But her eyes were emptied. I knew she was devastated, but I thought she'd move on. She had other options. Good schools. University of Washington accepted her. Oregon Health and Science University accepted her. She could still become a doctor, but it wasn't good enough for her. She wanted Hopkins. She wanted my life. 2 weeks before I was supposed to move to Baltimore for orientation, I was driving home from my graduation party. It was June 15, 2019, around 11 p.m. I was on Highway 26, heading back from the coast. My best friend Emma was with me. We were singing along to the radio, talking about how excited I was to start medical school. A drunk driver crossed the center line going 70 miles per hour and hit us head-on. Emma died on impact. I woke up 6 months later. The doctors said it was a miracle I survived. Traumatic brain injury. Skull fracture. Broken ribs. Collapsed lung. Shattered pelvis. I was in a coma from June to December. When I woke up, I didn't know what year it was. I didn't remember the accident. I could barely remember my own name. My family was there when I opened my eyes. My mom, my dad, my older brother Chris. But not Sophie. They said she was at school. That she visited every weekend but had to stay in Baltimore for classes. Baltimore? I was confused. Nothing made sense. My brain was foggy. The doctors said I had severe cognitive impairment. Memory loss. Difficulty processing information. They said it might be temporary, but there were no guarantees. I spent the next 8 months in physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, relearning how to walk. How to feed myself. How to think clearly. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. My mom stayed with me the entire time. My dad visited when he could. Chris came every weekend. Sophie came once. She showed up in March 2020, during spring break. She walked into my hospital room wearing a Johns Hopkins hoodie. I remember staring at that hoodie, feeling something strange in my chest. Something I couldn't name. How's school? I asked. It's hard, she said. But I'm managing. I'm so proud of you, I said. She smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. She stayed for 2 hours. Then she left. I didn't see her again for another year. By August 2020, I had recovered enough to leave the rehabilitation center. My cognitive function was about 80% back. The doctors said I was doing remarkably well. That I might make a full recovery. But I had missed an entire year. Medical school was off the table. I needed to focus on healing. My parents suggested I take community college classes. Easy stuff. Get back into learning slowly. So I did. I enrolled in basic biology, chemistry, English. It felt humiliating. I had been accepted to Johns Hopkins. Now I was taking freshman-level courses at Portland Community College, but I did it. And slowly, I got better. My memory sharpened. My processing speed improved. By 2021, I was almost completely back to normal. The neurologist said I had made a full recovery, that I could resume a normal life. I decided to go to nursing school. I had lost 2 years. I couldn't reapply to medical school and start from scratch. I was already 23. I wanted to move forward. So I enrolled in a nursing program at Oregon Health and Science University. It wasn't my dream, but it was something. My family was supportive. They said they were proud of me. That I had overcome so much. That I was strong. Sophie called me once during my first semester of nursing school. She was in her 3rd year at Hopkins. She told me about her rotations, her exams, her friends. She asked how nursing school was. I said it was fine. We talked for 20 minutes. Then she had to go study. I felt something that day. Something I had been ignoring for 2 years. A nagging feeling in the back of my mind. Something wasn't right, but I pushed it away. April 2024. I was finishing my last semester of nursing school. Working part-time at a hospital in Portland. Living in a small apartment by myself. My life was small, but it was mine. I had accepted it. Then I got an email, subject, Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, Class of 2024 Graduation Ceremony Information. Dear Sarah Mitchell, congratulations on your upcoming graduation. We are excited to celebrate your achievements at the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine commencement ceremony on May 18, 2024. I stared at the email for 10 minutes. It had to be a mistake. I never went to Hopkins. I never started medical school. I had been in a coma. I had been in rehab. I had been in nursing school. I called the Johns Hopkins registrar's office. Hi, I think there's been a mistake. I received an email about graduation, but I'm not a student there. The woman on the phone asked for my name. Sarah Mitchell. She typed for a moment. Sarah Mitchell, date of birth March 3, 2001? Yes. You're enrolled here. You're a 4th-year medical student. You're graduating in 4 weeks. My heart stopped. That's impossible. I've never attended Johns Hopkins. Ma'am, according to our records, you've been enrolled since August 2019. You've completed all your coursework. You're in good academic standing. Is there a specific issue with your graduation status? I hung up. My hands were shaking. This didn't make sense. There had to be an explanation. A clerical error. Identity theft, something. I logged into the Johns Hopkins student portal using my email and date of birth. I reset the password and I got in. There was my name. My date of birth. My photo, except it wasn't my photo. It was Sophie. I sat in my apartment for 3 hours, going through everything. The student portal. The course history. The grades. The clinical rotations. Every single detail. Someone had enrolled at Johns Hopkins using my identity. Using my acceptance letter. Using my social security number. And that someone was my twin sister. I looked at the attendance records. Started, August 2019. 2 months after my accident, while I was in a coma, she took my place. I pulled up the class schedule from fall 2019. The orientation date was August 19th. I woke up from my coma on December 3rd. For 3.5 months, while I was unconscious, she was in Baltimore, pretending to be me, and when I woke up, she didn't stop, she kept going. For 4 years, I checked the financial records. Tuition was paid from my parents' account. Housing was paid from my parents' account. Everything was set up in my name, but they were funding it. They knew. My parents knew my sister was impersonating me. They had been paying for it. They had been facilitating it. I called my mom. Hey sweetie, what's up? Did you know Sophie is pretending to be me at Johns Hopkins? Silence. Mom? Sarah, I think you're confused. You're not at Johns Hopkins. You're in nursing school. Remember? I know I'm in nursing school, Mom. I'm asking if you know that Sophie has been using my identity to attend medical school. More silence. Sarah, I think you need to talk to your therapist. This sounds like the confusion from your injury coming back. We should schedule an appointment. Stop lying to me. I screamed. I have the records. I have the portal login. I can see everything. She's been me for 4 years. And you paid for it. My mom started crying. You don't understand, she sobbed. You were in a coma. We didn't know if you'd ever wake up. The acceptance was going to go to waste. Sophie was devastated. Your father thought. I woke up, I said, my voice cold. I woke up 6 months later. And you didn't tell me. You let her keep going. You couldn't handle medical school. You were relearning how to walk. We didn't want to hurt you. So you let her steal my life instead? It's not stealing if you can't use it. I hung up. I sat there in the dark, shaking. My entire family had betrayed me. They had decided, collectively, that Sophie deserved my acceptance more than I did. That my life was over, so why not give it to her? But I didn't die. I recovered. And they never told me. I called Sophie. She didn't answer. I called again. And again. On the 5th call, she picked up. What? I know, I said. Silence. I know you've been me for 4 years. I know you stole my identity. I know Mom and Dad helped you. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then, what are you going to do about it? Her voice was calm. Almost bored. You stole my life, Sophie. You weren't using it, she said. You were half brain dead in a hospital bed. Someone had to take the opportunity. I worked hard for 4 years. I earned that degree. With my name. My identity. My acceptance. You wouldn't have survived medical school anyway. You could barely survive the accident. That's when I decided I was going to the graduation. I spent the next 3 weeks planning. I contacted a lawyer. I gathered every piece of evidence. Medical records from my coma. Rehabilitation documents. Photos with timestamps. My nursing school enrollment records. Everything proving I was Sarah Mitchell, and I had been in Oregon the entire time Sophie was in Baltimore. I also contacted the Johns Hopkins administration. I filed a formal complaint. Identity theft. Fraud. Impersonation. I sent them all the evidence. They launched an investigation, but they said nothing would happen until after the graduation ceremony. Legal needed to review everything. It would take time. I didn't have time. So I bought a plane ticket to Baltimore. I bought a navy blue dress. I packed my documents in a folder. And I prepared a speech. On May 18, 2024, I walked into the Kraushar Auditorium at Johns Hopkins. The auditorium was massive. High ceilings. Wooden panels. Rows and rows of seats filled with families. There were at least 300 people there. Graduates in caps and gowns sat in the front section. Families sat behind them. I saw my parents in the 5th row. My dad in a suit. My mom in a yellow dress. My brother Chris next to them. They were smiling, holding flowers, looking proud. I saw Sophie in the 2nd row, sitting with her classmates. She was laughing at something someone said. She looked happy. Confident. She looked like someone who had earned her place. I sat in the back. I waited. The ceremony started with the dean's welcome speech. Then the valedictorian spoke. Then they started calling names. One by one, students walked across the stage. Shook hands with the dean. Received their diploma. Smiled for photos. Their families clapped and cheered. I watched my parents. They had their phones out, ready to record. Finally, they called her name. Sarah Mitchell. My name. Sophie stood up. Started walking toward the stage, and so did I. I walked down the center aisle from the back of the auditorium. People turned to look. There was confused murmuring. Two identical women in navy blue dresses, both responding to the same name. Sophie froze halfway to the stage. She saw me. Her face went white. I reached the stage first. I walked up the steps. The dean looked confused. I'm sorry, who are? I took the microphone from the podium. My name is Sarah Mitchell, I said into the microphone. My voice echoed through the auditorium. And that woman, I pointed at Sophie, is my twin sister, Sophie Mitchell. She has been impersonating me for the past 4 years. The room went completely silent. Sophie tried to run. My brother Chris grabbed her arm. I kept talking. In June 2019, I was accepted to Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. 2 weeks before orientation, I was in a car accident. I was in a coma for 6 months. While I was unconscious, my sister used my acceptance letter, my social security number, and my identity to enroll here. My parents knew. They paid for it. They helped her. I opened my folder. Held up documents. I have medical records proving I was in a coma and rehabilitation in Oregon from June 2019 to August 2020. I have enrollment records showing I attended nursing school in Portland from 2021 to 2024. I have photos, timestamps, medical testimony. I was never here. She was. Using my name. The dean was standing now, motioning for security. She didn't earn this degree. She stole it. She stole my acceptance, my identity, and 4 years of my life. And my family helped her do it because they thought I wouldn't recover. But I did. And now I'm here to take back what's mine. Security guards were moving toward the stage. My parents were standing, my mom was crying, my dad was trying to get to Sophie. Sarah Mitchell is my name. I shouted into the microphone. I am Sarah Mitchell. And I'm not going to let anyone take that from me. They pulled the microphone away. 2 security guards escorted me off the stage. But I had said everything I needed to say. The entire auditorium was in chaos. People were shouting. Recording on their phones. Sophie was being held by security on the other side of the stage. My parents were being questioned by administrators. I was escorted to a private room. 20 minutes later, a Johns Hopkins attorney and the dean came in. They asked me to present my evidence. I did. All of it. They left. An hour later, they came back. We've reviewed your documentation. We've also pulled Sophie Mitchell's original application records. We found her rejection letter. We found communications between your parents and the registrar's office in 2019. We have enough evidence to substantiate your claim. The dean looked exhausted. Sophie Mitchell's enrollment will be terminated immediately. Her degree will not be conferred. She will face criminal charges for identity theft and fraud. Your parents will be investigated as accomplices. I didn't feel victorious. I felt empty. What happens to my acceptance? I asked. It was rescinded when you didn't show up for orientation in 2019. But given the extraordinary circumstances, we'll review your case. Sophie was arrested that night. Charged with identity theft, fraud, and impersonation. My parents were charged as accessories. The case made national news. Twin Steel Sisters medical school acceptance was everywhere. Johns Hopkins offered me a settlement. They apologized for not verifying identity more thoroughly. They offered to let me enroll the following year with a full scholarship. They wanted to avoid a lawsuit. I declined. I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. That dream belonged to a different version of me. A version that died in a car accident 5 years ago. I accepted my nursing degree. I got licensed. I started working at a hospital in Seattle. Far from Portland. Far from my family. Sophie took a plea deal. 3 years in federal prison. She'll be released in 2027. My parents tried to apologize. Sent letters. Tried to call. I never responded. Chris visits me sometimes. He said he didn't know until it was too late. I believe him. I changed my name legally. Not my first name. Just my last name. I'm not Sarah Mitchell anymore. That name belongs to too many lies. I'm just Sarah now, and I'm finally free.